Chapter 26, Being Untouchable. Jane says, "You touched on an important point. You don't need others to validate yourself. That should be rule number 1 on any self-mastery journey. Do not look outside yourself for validation." I say, do not, period. Validation comes from within. It's your birthright. If you're constantly looking for others to recognize your brilliance, you're going to exhaust yourself chasing scraps. Because the truth is, most people don't care. Most people are too wrapped up in their own stories. Jane asks, how do you validate yourself? I say, I'm impenetrable. Jane says, I love that, impenetrable. I say, I'm impenetrable because I lived through rejection. For years, instead of crumbling, I refined. I rewrote, I sharpened, I made my work so clear, so airtight, so undeniably meaningful that I knew, without needing applause, when something I created had real power. That doesn't mean I never get discouraged, but I stopped outsourcing my worth. I know this might sound like ego, but it's not. It's the product of relentless work. I honed my skills in every arena until I became unshakably confident in what I do. Having worked in the New York City talent agency world, I've seen how arbitrary external approval really is. So much of it is opinion. So much of it is politics. Very little of it is based on merit. It always serves the giver of the compliment. Furthermore, I've been in entertainment, media, journalism, alternative news, and let me tell you, most people don't even know what they're talking about. Some do, yes. What I found, though, is that true mastery is rare. Does that sound horribly egotistical? Jane says, no, because it's a program for us too, the tall poppy syndrome. Cut down ourselves and don't brag. That's a program. The more people who confidently speak like this and shine their light, the more it gives others permission to do the same. I say, that's the difference. I'm not bragging, I'm owning it. Also, context matters. If I'm in a CrossFit class, I know I'm the worst one there. I'm 100% confident I'm making a complete fool of myself. Certainty works both ways. I also know, without a shred of doubt, who I am and what I'm capable of. Your powerful manifestation ability. For the second time in a short span, maybe a week, 2 weeks, I manifested something negative. Not catastrophic, but not good either. I thought it, and then it happened. That's the part that got my attention. The first incident involved a coffee pot. I was on my way to visit Mom, and she mentioned she needed a little 1-cup coffee maker. I searched my garage and told her the only one I could find was a big 12-cup machine. She said, bring it anyway. As I grabbed it, I had this fleeting thought. If I give her this, then I won't have my backup coffee maker. And what if something happens to mine right before a big meeting? The next morning, just before leaving, my coffee pot broke. It was immediate. There was no lag, no delay, no mistaking the link. That's when I knew I had to tighten up my thoughts. The second time it happened, it was the door from my bedroom to the back deck. I use that door all the time. It's peaceful out there and a great place for the dog. For some reason, whenever the handymen were around, they couldn't get that door open. Still, I always could. I'd touch it, and it would glide open, and they'd stare at me like I had some kind of magic. I'd laugh as they asked, how did you do that? For a full year, I had no problem. Then yesterday, as I opened the door, I caught myself thinking, maybe a little smugly, funny how they could never open it, but I always can. This morning, the door wouldn't budge. Completely jammed. It's uncanny how these manifestations are becoming instantaneous. I realize the more powerful we get, the more precise and responsible we must be. Jane says, if you flip that and say, okay, I can open the door effortlessly and easily, are you forcing that thought and therefore it's not manifesting? I say, yes, exactly. That's the trap. It's like when I healed the arthritis in my finger. I'd had pain in the tip of my middle finger for a year, couldn't even bend it. One night the pain woke me up and I'd had enough. I issued a command to my cells, heal this finger now. Then I went back to sleep. In the morning, I could bend it. I've been able to ever since. I haven't yet been able to replicate that result with other parts of my body. Not as obviously, anyway. I do know I heal quickly. That moment showed me what's possible. Jane says, I've got similar stories of watching what I manifest with my thoughts. Every time I have a bad thought, I quickly bring in a shield. So if it does happen, I'm still protected. I say, it's fascinating. Instant manifestation is real, and it's only going to accelerate. In my experience, it happens most easily when the thought is unconscious, unforced. Jane says, yes, when it's not a forced one. It seems very difficult to control every single thought that comes to us, but I know that's what we have to do in order to become crystalline, right? Your mighty self. The pineal gland sits at the center of your brain. This tiny gland, often called the seat of the soul, is the gateway to your highest connection, your intuition and your inner knowing. Yet, for most people, it's been shut down, calcified, and numbed out. Why? Fluoride. Chemicals. Beyond that, we've been taught to ignore it, to ignore the very sense that helps link us to the higher realms. Why has there been such a targeted assault on the pineal gland? Because when you're disconnected from it, you're easier to manipulate. You stop trusting yourself. You doubt your inner guidance. You lose your knowing. So what can we do about it? Start by reclaiming your discernment. Use your intuition as your compass. Strengthen that inner sense until it's louder than the noise around you. If you want something tangible, try iodine. Edgar Cayce's version, etomidine, still exists, or zeolite to assist detox. Don't stop there. Speak directly to your pineal. Tell it to awaken. Command it to decalcify. Anchor into your heart's intuition. Make that your baseline. When you do this, you're not just working on a gland, you're unfreezing your entire being. You are entering the crystalline state. This is where your whole system begins to rewire. Your cells upgrade. Your DNA activates. You begin to dissolve pain, emotional, physical, spiritual. You shed density. You rise. With that rise comes remembrance. You remember who you are. You remember why you came. You shed the lies and illusions, the traps, the masks, the external approval seeking. You move into coherence. You become a being of frequency, of resonance, of unshakable clarity. You are no longer prey to this world's distortions. The Creator is no longer a concept. You feel that presence as one with you. Your love for others flows like a river because there's no blockage anymore. That is the gift. That is the freedom. That is what it means to release the rebel within. Thank you for listening to this excerpt.